Hello, everybody.
Hello.
I'm going to turn off this camera here. I'm going to turn off my camera just for a moment. Hi, my name is Anaida Colon Muñiz, and I'm the president of the National Conference of Puerto Rican Women of the Southern California chapter. Welcome to all of you today, and thank you for joining us in this wonderful event honoring Women's Month. And in particular, we're honoring Boricua women artists. So we're really excited to have you with us, and we're really excited to be here today. We are going to be recording this activity today, so we want to make sure that you know that. Because of that, we have certain norms that we want to follow. First of all, we don't want to interrupt any of the speakers, particularly the participants will be muted. And if you can also make sure you are muted. Only the panelists, and if at any point one of the board members speaks, then they also will be able to unmute themselves. But generally speaking, we try to give the floor to the people who are invited guests so that they can be heard clearly, because on Zoom sometimes it sounds muffled if more than one person speaks at a time. So at the very, very end, after we finish recording, then we'll be able to unmute and have any of the participants celebrate the artists who you might be coming to see or to make comments. By the way, we have a chat room that can be reached at the bottom of your screen, and you can also, throughout the entire presentation, you could be making comments and also posting any questions you might have. At that point, if you post a question, Marie, at the very end, if time will, willing and forgiving, will be able to allow us the time to have Marie ask those questions to the panelists. So in the meantime, I'm going to begin and welcome our board. First, of course, is Marjorie Patton, who is our first vice president and is really in charge of coordinating all of the many events and activities that we have at NACOPRW-SOCAL. And we have Gloria San Miguel, who is our second vice president, and she's in charge of all of our media, our website. She handles all of the posters and the wonderful film that she put together today for you to see the work of our artists who are our guests. We have Marie Nubia Feliciano, who is our secretary, and she is the one who's always promoting and putting things on our Facebook page and helping us to keep connected as a chapter. So you may have heard from her on occasion. And Sonia Colon Lamas is our treasurer, who makes sure that we're financially stable and doing well and raising money. But today she's also in charge of conducting the panel. So she will be moderating the panelists and making sure to ask questions for everyone to respond. So we're really excited to have everybody here. We're excited to get started. I do want to make mention of one thing before we begin, and that is that we have a very special guest today. One of our artists, Dora Strope, is actually one of the original founders of the National Conference of Puerto Rican Women in the DC area, the very first chapter that ever came to be in 1972. And we're just so honored to have her here and to pursue her love of art, along with all the other things that she did in government and everything else. And I always say I want to be just like Dora now that I've newly retired, because I know that, there are lives after retirement, many lives after retirement. Again, thank you to all of the board members, in particular, the committee that worked on this with Gloria San Miguel and Sonia Lamas and myself. We had a lot of fun planning it, and we hope that you enjoy it. So I am going to now ask Marie to unpin all of us except for Sonia, I'm sorry, all of the board members except for Sonia, and to keep all of the panelists pinned so that we can see them clearly. And we're going to continue now with our event. Hope you enjoy it.
Thank you.
Hello again, my name is Sonia Lamas, and I will be moderating the panel today. Most of us are lovers of art in one form or fashion. Admiring a piece of art can make you happy, it can make you sad, or it could even take you to places that you have never been before. Today, during Women's History Month 2021, I have the honor of interviewing 4 fabulous Puerto Rican women artists. We're going to share their experiences, both as being Puerto Rican and women, and how this has influenced their art. So let's enjoy the following video for an inspirational journey into their expressions of art.
She did a beautiful job.
Wow, bravo. Can you hear me? Everybody hear me? Okay. Thanks again. That was a fabulous, fabulous job, Gloria. Thanks again to Gloria San Miguel, our second vice president, who did such a beautiful job in capturing the work of these lovely ladies. As you can see, there's a great diversity in their styles and their influences. So with no further ado, let's meet our panel. Dora D. Strope. Dora was born and raised in Juncos, Puerto Rico, and worked in DC for several governmental agencies. She has always been influenced in the art world, taking during classes in the Corcoran Art Gallery, the University of Maryland, and Howard County Community College. She became fascinated with watercolors and took watercolor classes, including at the Museum of Art in Puerto Rico. She has exhibited her work at venues in Maryland and Puerto Rico, expressing her love of nature, plants, and flowers. Welcome, Dora.
Thank you.
We're gonna move on to Dr. Gloria Caballer-Arce. Gloria is a multimedia artist and educator who was born and raised in New York City. At an early age, she was inspired by bold colors, the shapes of nature, and the design elements created by intermingling of lines to create what she described as intriguing compositions. Over the last 20 years, she has explored the world of abstract art and found it to be challenging, stimulating, and very motivating. She continues on a journey of self-discovery with the goal of evolving and developing her unique style as a fine artist. She shares her talent educating students and raising proceeds for scholarships. Welcome, Gloria.
Thank you.
Miniveille Elena Quintana has always been drawn, Miniveille has always been drawn to the arts ever since she could remember. Her parents had a love of travel that exposed her to many beautiful and inquisitive art forms found around the world. Although she has some formal training in art and has dabbled in paintings, photography, and ceramics over the years, being a single mom and needing a steady income took her in a different direction as a bilingual educator. Only now, being retired and quarantined, has Minnie returned to painting with a purpose and passion. She paints mostly figurative and landscape painting related to her Latina roots and from the memories of her many travels. Welcome, Miniveille.
Thank you.
Last but not least, we have Rocio Delgado-Garcia. Rocio grew up in Ciales, Puerto Rico, and spent most of her summers with family in the coastal town of Vega Baja, where she enjoyed days at the beach. Horses are a big part of her life, as her father has Pano Fino horses. Rocio showed an interest in art as a child, later studied architecture, and graduating in fashion design. In 2006, she relocated to San Diego, California, studying in health to help people live healthier lifestyles. Thus, her art is an expression of her heart. She has evolved with a true nature, both for Puerto Rico and now her new love, California. Welcome, Rocio.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. We have a few questions for the panel, which I will direct to each panelist. Please keep your answers brief. I know we've said this before, so you can answer several questions, not just one. Others can chime in by raising your hand. I will give you a 1 minute warning, maybe touching my finger to my cheek. And if time permits, we're going to open up the chat to our audience. And I had mentioned that. Just put it in through our chat, and we'll do our best to try and accommodate you. Although, to be honest with you, with all these Puerto Rican women talking at once, I don't know that we're going to be able to squeeze everything in 1 hour, but we're certainly going to try. Anyway, Dora, I have the first question for you. This here. Sorry. Okay, Dora, who or what inspired you to become an artist? Was it like a particular artist, or was it style of art? Was it a place that you visited?
It was a relative of mine when I was living in Juncos. And I remember he signed my autograph. And instead of signing the autograph, he just painted a beautiful Puerto Rican landscape. That, I mean, stuck with me for a long time. And I said, well, maybe someday I would like to do something similar. When I went to college, I went to study education, and I graduated with a degree in English. But always had that art inside of me. I said, maybe someday I will become an artist. My family here has been a great support in pushing me and helping me into continuing my art. I didn't start formally until after I retired from the federal government. And that's when I started taking classes and try to find out what medium was my favorite, because I had done acrylics in the past and oils. But when I found watercolor, that was it. That was it for me. And and maybe taking classes at the Museum of Art in Puerto Rico really gave me that flavor of the island. I used to go to a yunque with a class and start painting breadfruit trees and orchids and you name it. And I think that's what inspired me.
Wonderful. Does anybody have anything else that they would like to add to this question? Minnie.
What inspired me? I think the world around me inspired me. My mother lived on an island, Puerto Rico, and she said, you have to leave Puerto Rico because all you can do is go around and around and around. And the world is your oyster, you know? I mean, and I think that I got that from there. My travel, lust for travel. My brother and I traveled, thanks to my parents who introduced that love to us. But we always had a home in Puerto Rico. So we were always inspired by our friends and family and our customs.
Right.
And I think what inspired me, I did a series of dancers, and I think that inspired me because of my Puerto Rican background. I remember in New York City on Fridays, we had Good Fridays. We could eat meat. So we'd go to my aunt's apartment in New York City for fish fry, and all the family would meet there. And after we ate, the furniture miraculously disappeared from the house, and everybody was salsa dancing, merengue, and all of that. And all those visions just stuck in my head.
That helped you enjoy it. Well, that's great. Gloria Caballer-Arce, I have a question for you. Is what has been a Puerto Rican Latina, okay, a woman, Puerto Rican Latina, influenced your work? How did that do that for you as an artist?
Well, it all started with me when I was about, I would say 6 years old. And I was always a very independent child with many responsibilities at home. As a matter of fact, you could say I really did not have a childhood because my mom depended on me for many, many things, from household chores to babysitting. There were times when my mother was working in factories to try to keep us together as a family. So it was very hard for me to, not to be just a child, let alone to enjoy being a child. But my escape came in school because that's where I discovered my love of art. I was involved even in the performing arts. I remember being in many plays and wearing all these elaborate costumes with these very, very vibrant colors. And I just fell in love with it. And I would just thrive in that. And then the performing arts were another escape for me, if you will, with the arts, because I enjoyed being someone else. And I was very capable of doing, just taking on a persona. So to me, that was all part of what helped to mold me. And also the fact that, even though I had a lot of responsibilities at home, I also lived in a working class neighborhood that was mostly composed of Black and Hispanic people. And one of the things that really impressed me as a child and as I was going into a young adolescent was how the neighborhood would come together when, there were, we would have like our Christmas festivals, we would have our bautismos, our birthday parties, and all those were filled with color and music and pasteles and you name it. And, there was always a lot of color and a lot of culture. And I just wanted to just embrace it all and put it into my artwork. And that was another thing that helped me. And as I grew, as I started to become a young lady, as I was going into middle school, I saw the trials and tribulations of my mom and how women were defined during that time. And I just, I saw how she was with my stepfather and how unhappy she was. And I decided that, marriage and having a man rule over me was not going to be the kind of life that I would aspire to. And I always kept going back to art. And I saw art as a doorway for me to have a different kind of life. So for me, that was a turning point. And then in school, while I was in the 8th grade, I had a wonderful teacher by the name of Mr. Tyler, who helped me to put together a portfolio. And I applied to an art school in New York City. And to this day, this is what I do.
Well, certainly all those trials and tribulations definitely show in your art with all those bright colors, and I can see that. But what a beautiful journey. You'd be very proud of. Yes, Dora.
Can I add something? One of my art teachers in Columbia, Maryland, was fascinated about the colors I use in my paintings. And she said, wow, you really love color. And it must be in your DNA, because she knew I was from Puerto Rico. And it is in my DNA. And that's why I love color and flowers and anything that has to do with, all the colors that I grew up in Puerto Rico.
Beautiful. And it shows also in your art. I mean, yes, Gloria.
I just wanted to say to Dora that I think color, I can relate to her saying that color is in her DNA, because it truly is in mine.
Okay.
Especially us Puerto Ricans, we love color. Let's be
Yes,
realistic.
absolutely.
I'm going to move over to Rocio. Rocio, have you experienced any obstacles or challenges in becoming an artist? I mean, I know that you've moved from Puerto Rico to California, which is, a dramatic change. But did art just come easy to you? You felt this is something I've always wanted to do?
I moved to United States when I was 28 years old, something like that. Like I lived most of my life in Ciales, in Puerto Rico. When I moved here, I think I was having that feeling of missing my country, missing Puerto Rico, missing, the town, like my family and everything. And I wanted to also show like when I came from to my new friends, to the new people I was meeting. I had that feeling of like showing where I came from, the colors, the beautiful scenery that we have in the island. And I always liked to paint. I think it was on me from when I was a kid. Like I was like drawing the T-shirt in the classroom, or always like my mom said that when I was a kid, is I find a crayon, forget it. The painting, the wall was having my art there as a kid. That was terrible. But when I moved here, I think always art was something that I was good to me to express my feelings, who I am, and everything. And I think that was more a way to show you know, to talk about where I came from, to let people know who I am and everything. And it was more like it was a good way. I don't feel it was an obstacle. It was more like a way to connect to people here.
Right. So it was a natural inspiration from you from the young age.
Yes, I think it's something very good that we can use as a connecting with anybody that you met, and to let you know like who you are, and it's very good. Art for kids or for us as an adults, I think it's still a good way to express and to be connected.
Right. Yeah. That's beautiful. I also love a bit of road horses. So your painting of that one is really fabulous. So congratulations. That's wonderful. I am going to finally move over to Minnie. And Miniveille, you touched a little bit on this because I know you've traveled a great deal. But can you describe how living in the diaspora, whether it was in the United States or abroad, influenced your work? Because I see there was changes in your art as you've been going along. So,
Well, I think I started from my roots. I really think I started with my Boricua culture. I started with the vigigantes. I started with the salsa dancers. I started with the bomba dancers, you know, and those experiences. And I wanted to capture those. And like everybody else, I think we're all about color in Puerto Rico. We're all about patterns. We're all about love of life, love of people. Friendships are important to us. And then during the quarantine, I started painting again. I cleaned out the garage and made my studio. And people said, oh, I know how it started. It started because I started a challenge, and I challenged myself to do one photo from someplace in the world every day during the quarantine. And then I had a lot of, then they said, well, why don't you paint those, you know, places through all over the world? And that's how I started. I did 38 paintings of places I've been in the world, and I shared them with them. And it's just, to me, it's just love. It's just pure love. It's just a part of me.
yeah.
I don't know what to say.
No, but to have
Else to say.
love in all your paintings and you have them all together and in your gallery, it's like, here's my life. I think that's absolutely beautiful. So I'm glad. Continue enjoying it.
It is my life. Right now, anyway. Yeah.
I have one other question. I'm going to ask that of all of you because it's important. So let's begin with Dora. Dora, what advice would you give another Boricua woman, whether she's young or old, who might be interested in pursuing art?
What I recommend is to take a class in the medium that be oils, acrylic, or watercolors. I mean, that's very important because it begins to tell you whether you really like to do it, and also begin to explore your creativity. And with the help of the teacher, you develop. I also suggest that you go to museums, visit art galleries, read art books, familiarize yourself with the classic painters, also, including the abstract painters. I took drawing classes in the Corcoran Art School in Washington, D.C., and I think learning how to draw made it easier for me to get into painting. So that really helped. I also encourage for anybody at any level to develop a network of artists. They can be your classmates in your class, your teachers, mentors, because that's very important. Don't be shy. Everybody has a little bit of insecurity at the beginning and doubts, but I think the more you participate in art shows and art discussions, I think the better it's going to be for you. Also, another teacher of mine said, please have fun. While you're doing this, have fun. Because sometimes it's not easy. It's, you know, art is very competitive. But if you like what you're doing and you enjoy art, I think you're gonna have fun. So that's all I encourage for anybody contemplating going into art.
Okay, Gloria, can you add to this?
Yes, of course. I would say, based on the question, art does not have an age limit. It is not something that you do, it is something that you are. Hello?
It's okay.
Oh, okay, okay, I can't see you. All right, it is something that you are. And what I would say is take some time and connect with your spirit. Be honest with yourself. How disciplined are you? How consistent are you? And can you imagine yourself doing anything else? And if you cannot, then I would say pursue it with all the passion in your soul, and because it fills your heart with unimaginable joy. I promise you that you will find your authentic voice in art, and you will find your audience.
Awesome, great advice. I need that myself. I've tried a couple of times and I get frustrated, but I think what a lot of you are saying, take the classes, and then just researching within yourself as to if this is something you really want to do. You can express art in different ways, yeah. Yes, Minnie, I was going to call on you. Go ahead, Minnie.
I also think you have to have a real love and a passion to do this, because it's not for everybody. It's very hard to make a living as a professional artist. It's something that you really have to love and be able to sacrifice for. I remember when I was taking some classes, I started several fine arts master's programs and wasn't able to finish any of them. The last one I signed up for was when I was going through a divorce, and it was very hard to get classes in the afternoons or in the evenings. And I had to work during the days. I had to pay mortgage. I have kids to do homework with and all of that. And I asked the professors, I said, why don't they give you courses in the afternoon, courses in the evening? And they said to me, well, if you really love this, if you're really meant to be an artist, you will sacrifice everything and get that done during the day. And then I said to myself, I can't do this. This is a time in my life that it's not for me. I have to do what comes for me first. I'll always have my art. It's in me. It's with me wherever I go. And that's one thing. And then the other thing, if you do pursue this, look online. There's lots of artists online, lots of web pages online, lots of people that can mentor you. Visit studios, visit working artists, because that's where, if you want to make this into a living, that's where you're gonna find your mentors. You're gonna go to galleries, you're gonna network. It's fine to have the talent with you, but you have to go out and work it. I'm done. Does anybody else have something to say?
Now, I just wanted to add also that there is the economic aspect of it. As I was coming up as a young woman, I had to work 2 jobs. I had to have enough money to buy materials. I would have to travel on trains at night in New York City to go to take, special art classes. And it wasn't until I got into college that I actually felt the freedom to be able to pursue art as a graphic artist and to major in it. So, it's like when the ladies have said, you really have to have a certain level of so much love and a level of sacrifice that you're willing to put into it so that you can come out to the other side, if you will. And yeah, that's one of the things that I think is important for people to understand, and that you will find challenges, and that you have to know how to get around those challenges, and accept the fact that not everybody's going to love your work, and and that's your impetus to continue to do it. Don't let anybody tell you that, try to define you. You define yourself.
I'm going to continue because Sonia's device lost connection. So I'm going to continue until she gets back on. And I think we need to listen to Rocio's response at this point.
I just want to say that you need to believe in yourself. Just let your instinct guide you. Sometimes now with the media, you can find videos that teach you the different techniques and mediums that you can use for art, like oil, acrylics, different techniques that even if you are, it's something that you want to try, but you are busy working or something, you can have some time to watch it online and practice yourself. I think, like in my case, I've been involved. I've been trying different techniques. I find that oil is the medium that I love, but took time for me to get here to get to know that I love that medium. But I practice with different ones until I find my niche, what I really like. But I think that anybody at home, no matter you don't have too much money or you don't have the time, you can find videos and just with a small canvas start practicing, and you can get to what you really like, and it's something to enjoy. I think art is something to really bring joy to your life. It's something that really is a very good thing to do with for your kids or for yourself. Especially, it's like a therapy. I feel like it's like you go in your zone and you really, really enjoy when you're doing it. No matter you are not a professional, I think anybody can do art at home. It's like it could be a fun thing to do, to just relax and don't think about anything else. All this craziness that sometimes is around, you can take a time to just enjoy.
Okay, I think Sonia is back on, and
There was the incredible thing was I thought we had an earthquake, so we went and all the lights in my entire house left me.
I thought I was the one.
We're going to go on to the next. I think Dora had something to say before.
Yes, Dora, go ahead. Thank you.
I just wanted to add that the art world is very competitive and also very subjective, and like what one person loves, your painting, another person can hate. And, for that reason, you have to believe in what you're doing and keep your strength. And no matter what kind of mood you're in, you have to continue and you have to practice and practice and practice. You have to develop like a plan of action, because I think if you don't plan, you can fail in achieving what you want to express. So, sometimes you have to you hear about artists and also athletes. They got to put 10,000 hours before they really begin more comfortable at what they're doing. And I think art is no different. We really have to, continue doing it, and don't let anybody disappoint you or tell you whatever they think, because you know yourself what you're doing.
Yeah, and I know we have time. Can I continue this?
I think it's a good time to see if Marie can take a couple of questions from the.
Yeah, we want to see if we could get some questions from our audience. Marie, do we have anything in there?
Yeah, we have a few.
Yes,
Okay,
there's a
let's
couple
get
of
that.
questions. There are a couple of questions. And one of them is, let me go back to my notes here. For all the panelists, I would like to know if there's a specific artist or artist that you admire and that inspires you.
Just raise your hand if you. Gloria?
Yes, I have had a picture in my house of Francisco Oller de Baquine. And I was even in a play for that. And I saw this in a museum, and it's a tremendously large painting. And I just mesmerized by how he was able to incorporate realism and just the different forms of art into one painting, and how he really brought the flavor of Puerto Rico out by painting El Baquine. So for me, and also I know that he's also helped to develop some of the masters like Cezanne. He taught Cezanne how to do a lot of his work. So I'm very, very proud of that, to know that a Puerto Rican was in Europe and he was, a shaker and a mover.
Yes, absolutely. Marie, is there another one?
Yes, there's the other question. It's like, do you all have had other jobs in your journey, and how did you manage to still pursue art? And anyone else can sort of loop back to the artistic inspiration also, but also adding if you've had other jobs during your journey, and how did you manage to continue to pursue your art?
I'd like to answer.
Dora.
My career was managing diversity programs in the federal government and also doing recruitment. And but art was always in the background of my head. And so my career was, it took about 33 years. And but then when I retired, I just felt that freedom to go and do what I always wanted to do. And so it doesn't matter when you start, as long as you keep doing it and thinking about it and everything. Obviously, I have more freedom now, and maybe it wasn't as bad as when I was going to college. I didn't know any women artists back then. I didn't know anybody. So, there was no inspiration in that regard. But now that I can do it, I love my diversity management career, loved it. But I'm really having fun now and enjoying it tremendously. So no matter when you start, as long as you do it, it doesn't matter.
Rocio, you are an architect, and you now you went into the health business. How are you doing with that?
I just feel that you need to have like a backup plan. I think that art is something that you need to keep going all the time, but then you have something that keep you like more stable, I would say, because it's something that came with time. People get to know you, people start to request your art, and then you start selling it, but take a little bit of time until you establish yourself. But like I did architecture because it was my dream to do in the art field, but then I switched to for life, bring me to healthcare, and then I started working on healthcare and was something stable, and I keep doing that. But art always was there. I never stopped, because you have something that kill the bills pay. Don't mean that you need to stop your passion. And I just keep working on it, and that slowly became now like my first income. Now art is switching. It's just like I would be encourage everybody that love art that maybe in the meantime you have a job, but don't stop your passion. Like keep working on that, because in some point maybe them will be turned to be your main income. Because it's something that you really love. That's always do something that you really love. It's going to pay off in some point.
You never know. Marie, do we have anybody else? Trying to see if we could squeeze in.
No other questions.
No questions. Minnie, do you want to add to this, Minnie?
Yeah, I just thought I went into bilingual education. I was a dual language immersion teacher. And I think my art helped learn that language, that second language, brought language alive to those kids, because I was able to draw for them. I was able to make pictures of them so they could understand. And I used a lot of art in the classroom. And I think that children just love learning through art. And art, you know, you can take art to any subject matter and make it more interesting and a wonderful kind of expression for the children and for yourself.
Anybody else? Gloria?
Yeah,
Gloria, go ahead.
I just wanted to say that I'm totally in accord with what she just said regarding being able to incorporate art into education. That's one of the reasons why I went into education, because I was always able to get involved in some kind of an art project. I would teach the kids through art. I would do a lot of different things so that their learning was enriched, because I feel that unless children have exposure to art, they really are not holistically educated. And, you know, one of the things that I noticed, even when I was in college and I was taking all my courses, everything was based on European art, but you didn't, you know, cultural art, the art of Latin America, the art of Puerto Rico, that was either very briefly glossed over or not mentioned at all. So that was something that I felt was very lacking, not only in the colleges, but also in education. We do not incorporate art as a major subject, and that's something that's been going on since the 1800s, and we need to do more of that because our children are desperate for it.
Wonderful. Wow, this has been great. Actually, this part was my favorite part. I love when you guys really, you know, express yourselves, and you've given us so much of your heart. And I really sincerely, we all sincerely appreciate it. I want to thank you all and thank everyone, especially our distinguished panelists. Hopefully this event will inspire some of you to pick up a brush and express some of your most intimate feelings. As you can see, that was the #1 recommendation from all of our artists. So thank you again, everyone. And now I'm going to thank you. Don't go, don't leave me. If anybody has any questions about our artists or want to contact them, here is the information of their email. And I don't know if we could post this in our website, but hopefully you will all have taken a minute to write this emails down, and they will be happy to answer any questions that you may have. And now I'd like to turn the mic over to Marjorie Patton, and she has some more information to share with all of you. Thank you again, everyone.
Thank you.
Wow, what an amazing, can you hear me? Yes. What an amazing presentation. Are you able to hear me now? Yes.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I just wanted to
I don't see you, but can hear you.
Okay, so I just want to again, like Sonia said, big thanks to Dora, to Gloria, Miniveille, and Rocio. I think you were so incredible, not just to show us your art, but also to open your heart, your homes, your studios, and share that with all of us. I think what a treat, and what a way of finishing or ending this month of the, you know, Women's Month. You are definitely, all of you are definitely showing us not only beautiful things that you come from your heart, but also dedication, struggle, passion, everything that really makes women really just thinking about children, education, all of those things, components, all those components were all in your art, in your hearts, in the passion, and thank you for sharing that with us. Sonia, thank you so much for moderating this wonderful event.
My pleasure.
We've been thinking about this event for a long time. We wanted to really share this with our members and our guests. Thank you to all of our guests for being here as well. We couldn't, you know, we can't do these things without you. Your feedback, your constant sponsorship really makes NACOPRW-SOCAL what it is. So thank you to all of you. And I also, before we end the rest of our day, I want to remind everybody, our guests, our members, and everybody that is joined today, that currently we have our we're running our NACOPRW-SOCAL scholarship program for 2021. It's already going on. It will be awarding 2 scholarships to 2 different women. The details are in our website. Here's a flyer so you all can see. The application, it's in the website. So please share the word. Let's sponsor 2 women that really like this wonderful artists. If they want to take classes in the arts, in education, in any field out there, please, this is part of our biggest events of the year. So please make sure that you share this information with someone that you know that could potentially be awarded one of these scholarships. The deadline for the scholarship is April 28th. So please help us promote it. And with that said, I'm giving back the mic to our president, Anaida, so she can tell us the last, give us a few words. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Well, again, I just wanted to make sure you knew that an artist, one of our former members made this guanine that represents, of course, La Cacica Luisa and all the caciques, and so I'm wearing it proudly. So I know you might think I was wearing a really big necklace, but it really is symbolic, and every year we pass it on to our next president. So for the last 10 years or so, we've been doing that. So I just, again, wanted to thank you on behalf of all of our board and our members for taking time on a Sunday. I know it's Palm Sunday. I thank you so much for spending this time with us. We're so appreciative of all the wonderful comments and all the questions, and especially our panelists. And Sonia, of course, who moderated, did a great job. And we're just so proud of all of you, and thank you. And to all of the board members as well who participated in one way or another, because none of us do this alone. This is a group event. We all put in a little bit. Kudos to our second vice president, Gloria, who did such a wonderful job with that video. And again, you'll be able to see this again. If you want to share this with other people, it will be available through our website in a little while, because it takes time to set that up. But you could keep checking and find that information, and via our website, it'll go to YouTube, and so you can share it with other friends and family. So thanks again. I applaud you. Let's take a chance to unmute to applaud everyone before we actually close the recording. Just unmute and say bravo to everybody.
Bravo.
Bravo.
Bravo. Beautiful conversation.
Thank you.
And thank you so much. And I think we are 3 minutes, with 3 minutes time, which is a record for Puerto Rican women to have a conversation.
So very well
Goes on the
behaved.
Guinness Book of World Records.
So, if there are any comments, anybody wants to make a comment, just raise your hand, and Sonia can recognize you, or Maria or Marjorie, any of us can actually call on you, whoever sees a hand up. But if there are any comments to end the day, did you get inspired? Do you feel like now taking a class? Let me know. Or if the panelists want to say.
One of our artists there, yeah.
We actually have 3 minutes.
I love the conversation. I feel inspired, very happy that we put this together. The art is so beautiful, so unique, so different, the colors. I really had I'm enjoying everything you've been saying and learning a lot from you. Thank you.
And I see just a couple of people. Dora, we have to get you unmuted, Dora, because we can't hear you. I think Dora wanted to share something.
The gentleman at the bottom of the screen.
We have to try to get her unmuted.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can, Dora. Go ahead. Yes.
Okay, I would like to thank the chapter. It's been great. I mean, you did a wonderful job organizing this, and I really appreciate it very much.
It was our pleasure. Yes, Gloria.
I just wanted to say it has been an honor, and I thank you for including me in such distinguished company. And I really admire you for the work that you're continuing to do. And you will always have a supporter in me. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you
Thank
so much. We appreciate that.
In particular, thank our members who are present. I see many of our members and also some of our former members from the DC area. I see Ana Rosario here, and it's wonderful to see you and to see so many, an old friend, Linda Moliere, who's from the time that, I was in New York 100 years ago. So thank you all for joining us. I know you came in support of one of the artists, and we are so pleased that you have been with us today. I think we are at the hour. It's 4 o'clock, so we can
That's it.
bring formal closure, and then if you want to stay on for a little bit more informally after the recording, we can definitely do that. Thank you
Thank
again.
you, everyone. Ciao.
Bye, everybody.